Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the longest running expert in the reason, frankly, we have expert series, Anna Kelly. Hi, Anna.
Hi, good to be here again.
Nice to be here as well. I enjoy our conversations. I've learned so much from you over the last couple of years, and this is going to be an important conversation because you and I have been doing this for 40 years plus when we add our time, and we've seen a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So I want people to get ready for some just gnarly, scary headlines.
Yes.
You and I both know if it bleeds, it leads, to steal a adage. If it's scary, people click on it. And I believe over the next year, we are going to just see some nasty, true, but misguided headlines. You ready?
I'm ready.
Number one headline I can see coming already. Foreclosures up 200%. It's going to be true. It's going to be accurate, but it's going to be misleading. What do you think?
I agree with you. And you know why? Because the question is 200% from what number and from when, right?
Exactly.
So hopefully we didn't talk before this, but hopefully I'm on the right track. So foreclosures have been down significantly because post-pandemic, there was a foreclosure moratorium. And so when you compare, 2 to 4, that's 200%. Exactly. Now it might sound really bad, or I guess 2 to 4 is 100%. It's double, right? Yeah, so, yeah. You go 2 to 8 and right. You've got 200% increase. That sounds really, really bad. But the question is,
based on what?
To norms, how bad is it?
Yeah. So I've done the research as you would expect, right? It is very, there may be months, frankly, where we have 300% foreclosure increases, but folks realize two things are different about this time. First and foremost, there was a 12 or 18-month period where essentially foreclosures were illegal.
Right.
They may have still happened occasionally because not all debt was Fannie Mae and all of that, but they were essentially illegal. Second, as you and I both know, servicers and banks are working with borrowers, unlike last time. Last time was like, once you were 90 days late, I believe it was 91, it might've been 92% chance you were going to foreclose or have a short sale. This time you're 90 days late, according to Black Knight, like 87% get cured somehow, some way. So
right.
Very, very different. But where I'm going with this is, again, the last thing is foreclosures, I think for the month of February, were like 27,000 or something. When you take, let's say it's 25,000 for easier math, that is 300,000 foreclosures for the year, right? Now, those are foreclosures, meaning closed. Or I'm sorry, those are foreclosure starts, because again, the numbers were starts. There were 3.2 million foreclosures in 2008. Those are completions, right?
Wow.
And also, lastly, foreclosures during the last crisis averaged over a year, in some markets over 2 years. So get ready. They're coming. Yes, you will see foreclosures. I actually saw a foreclosure in my market, in my buy box Friday. So they're coming.
Right.
But do not assume what is coming is anywhere close to 08. You see 200, 300%. Just remember from 2 to 8, 2 to 6, 100 to 200. There's no chance we have 3.2 million foreclosures happen this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And the other thing that's really different, but it's really important to understand, is that before 08, home values were up significantly, right? But interest rates were high and they were variable and resetting. So 50%. The problem was everybody's rates were resetting while prices were high. Then when the economy started to collapse, people couldn't make their payments, and it was a spiral. Exactly. Yeah. Today, most people that have owned a home, the average home buyer doesn't stay in their home more than 5 years. At least that's how it's been kind of historically. I haven't looked recently, but about 5 years average, right? So if you've gotten a loan in the last 14 years, your loan rate has been really low and it's been fixed because those bad mortgages were gone. The subprime, and variable rate loans were mostly gone unless you had really great credit and income, right? Mm-hmm. So most people have really low fixed rate mortgages. And if they're priced out of leaving and selling, they'll just stop selling their homes, but they'll probably try to stay in their home because they can't afford rent or anything else right now.
They got to live
They're
somewhere.
more likely to pay their mortgage, work out a payment plan, and not have this mass wave of houses hit the market such that all real estate values come down that much.
Just not going to happen. So next up, scary statistic that is true, but there's subtleties behind it. I believe, and I think I said in video 1, that real estate is going to crash 25% this year. If you read that headline and can't read between the lines, that's really scary. But realize in real estate, there are 2 numbers that can be discussed. One is price, which everybody probably initially thought I was referring to. I wasn't. I was referring to transactions.
Yes.
Transactions are going to crash for all kinds of reasons. Affordability, buyers are freaked out. Move up buyers are going to stay put. I mean, there's so many reasons why transactions are going to fall off a cliff. So when somebody says, and I'm guilty of it on purpose because you all click on those headlines, real estate is going to crash 25% this year. Transactions, not price. What do you think?
Absolutely. Transactions are going to come to a halt, as we've discussed in video number 1, especially because of consumer psyche and inflation. Adding this onto it in a war, people are just going to go, I'm out. It's too hard. I've already competed for a year and haven't been able to find a home. Now I can't afford that same home. So the average, just one quick fact here, just the rate increase over the last 6 weeks for the median priced home in the United States has increased the payment about $400 a month. I
saw that.
And that's a lot for people that are paying $2,000 a month for a house, right? It drives down significantly what they can afford while prices are still high. So people are just going to stop. They're going to wait it out and sit on the sidelines, and sellers aren't going to sell because they don't have anything to move up to, right? So transactions fall for sure. What that does to housing prices, there's a lot of variables that could impact that. I think price increases come down significantly. So we're not going to see double-digit increases in home prices.
That is my third topic. So let's hit that one right now.
Okay, great.
Residential real estate appreciation to fall 60%. People hear real estate prices fall 60%. They don't translate what that means. What that really means is we're going to go from 16 to 6 or 18 to 7.
Right.
Right. Appreciation to crash 60%. Well, that's still a positive number. And frankly, 6% is above trend. I mean, trend is like 3.8 or something like that. So
absolutely over time. And that's such a good point. You have to look at these things with a historical long-term lens, right? What has it been over the long run? Not just what have we gotten used to over the last 10 years, 2 years, 1 year, because those are not indicative of the future. But yeah, average home appreciation has been somewhere between 3 and 4% for decades, right? So when values went up over 20% last year, that's not sustainable, right?
No.
To your point,
it's unhealthy.
60%, that brings you back to the norm. Exactly. Of maybe 4% price appreciation per year. And that's going to be very different depending on the price home and the market that you're in and the supply and the demand. But overall, I think that house prices probably stay about level or a little up. I don't see a huge residential real estate crash like we had in 2008.
Yeah, I mean, it's mathematically impossible, frankly, at least on a national level. If you want to look out to maybe 23 or 24 and tell me about a price drop, okay, we can have that discussion. But mathematically speaking, with how price inelastic real estate is, you can't have a national housing crash this year. It's mathematically impossible, just because that's not how the consumer works, right? You list a property, it takes 90 days, then you have a price drop. I mean, you just run out of runway. To have a national housing crash. So one more we'll hit, and then we'll move on to topic number 3 of the day. Real estate to freeze, days on market to double or triple. Whatever they're going to spend this, that basically real estate is not moving. It's frozen. It's whatever, stuck in the mud. Folks, days on market of 18. That's the average, at least it was last month. Again, not normal. No, not normal. Right? Days on market could get to 65, 70 days, far more normal. I believe the average for most of my adult life is over 60 days.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
it's going to go slower.
Yes.
It just is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, to your point, when you look at just big percentages compared to the last year or two, numbers are going to seem a lot scarier than they are, right? And those of you that have listened to Michael and I long enough, we're not saying everything's great and everything's rosy and don't worry about any of that. We're just saying, don't get to the level of fear and panic that the headlines give. Make some very methodical, educated decisions based on the long-term historical, not just the last year or two, and then make purchase decisions and sales decisions where you think things are going in the long term, and maybe slow down. If you've been greedy over the last couple of years, the greedy period's probably over.
Probably over, yeah.
And it's probably time to have a little bit of nervousness and fear and not take too much risk. But here's the thing, when everybody really does start to panic, which could temporarily cause a lot more negativity in real estate because of the consumer psyche panic, when everybody's afraid, that's when it's time to say, okay, we've been here before. This is how we start making money. And we capitalize on the fear in the market to say, now's the time that we're going to take a view to the long term and start making some investments that are going to weather the storm when things get good again.
Absolutely. And that's what video number 3 is going to be about, folks, how you can thrive in winter versus just survive. Anna, how can people find you?
Great. You can find me here every week and on your channel on my playlist. You can find me on social media at Anna Kelly, REI Mom, and my website is reimom.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.